Hey, on my dog YouTube, welcome back to a new video with Rams fan YT. I was going to do the end of season review this week, but I've just realised the Premier League games have kicked off about 23 minutes ago, so wouldn't really be able to do that feasibly. But so I'll do that next week, and instead I'm doing the first thing I think about your Premier League club. This is just the first thing that comes into my head. So, Arsenal. Well, it's got to be the Invincible, right? The iconic 2003-04 season, whereby Arsenal went unbeaten in the Premier League, which was the first and only time this has happened in the Premier League. And I still don't know how people wanted Arsenal then get out of the club. And then that's about it. Aston Villa winning the Champions League. That was back in 1982. Not many English teams can actually say they won the Champions League that aren't in the Big Six. But Villa can count themselves among that slim few. The legendary performances of Spink enabled Villa to beat Bayern Munich 1-0 and become the sixth consecutive club in England to win the competition. Brighton and Hove Albion. I'm sorry, it's got to be the hipster fans. Out of all fans who literally know facts that no one else even needs to know in football, it would be Brighton fans. I'm sorry. And I don't really know much about the club. I just don't think there's that many stereotypes about them. Burnley, Sean Dyche. Yep, the manager who plays 4-4-2 in the Premier League just sits back defending, trying to loft the ball up front and shoot. Although he does do great interviews. I do quite like a good Sean Dyche interview. Yes, he eats gravel and worms for breakfast, you know. Yeah. Chelsea, buying success. You all know it's true that Abramovich sacks so many managers and buys so many players for tens of millions of pounds. And unless they have some form of success, the manager would be sacked. And that's why they have all this success in silverware from the recent last 15 years or so. So, yeah. Crystal Palace, it's got to be Roy Hodgson for me. The old man, and I know he's leaving at the end of the season, but the old manager at this point, you even have to question whether his tactics would still even work. It just so happens that he's at Palace at the moment, and I couldn't think of anything else other than being managed by a 73-year-old. He should be retired, going on cruise trips, not managing players like Zaha and Benteke. Sorry, old Roy. For Everton, I always think of an original top six side. I'm sorry, but how is Spurs even in the Big Six? Yeah, Everton, who have more silverware and are at the very top in all times points total, not up there. They've won the European competition. They've won 9 league titles as opposed to Spurs' 2. They've won 5 FA Cups and 9 Community Shields as opposed to Spurs' 7. They have only spent 4 seasons outside the top tier, and therefore is the second continuous serving club in the top tier, I think, after Arsenal. I think if I get my facts right there. Fulham, I'm going with a yo-yo team. You don't even try and deny it, Fulham fans. You knew when you came up last season that you would go straight back down. You went up in 2018, to go down the next season, and then up again the last season to go down yet again. That's 2 spells in the Premier League that has resulted in relegation, and 3 spells in the Championship, which has resulted in promotion. Leeds United, got to be the dirty Leeds. When your all-time greatest say that they didn't even like the way they went about to win silverware, then you know that you're doing something wrong. They were well known throughout the 60s and 70s to be extremely violent, with apparently Jack Charlton having a book of people he would like to injure in his head. They have now been found to have been tweaking rules again by spying in Derby County. Totally not salty about that still. And other rules which they've broken or tweaked recently. Leicester City, the Unbelievables. That Leicester team that won the 2015-16 Premier League, with many of the players still at the club, such as Schmeichel, Wes Morgan, Vardy and Fuchs, although I think a lot of them are leaving at the end of the season, to be fair. Wes Morgan and Fuchs are anyhow. They've now won an FA Cup, and just in general, this generation, I think, will go down the history of Leicester City and generally football in general. So yeah, Liverpool, I could have gone for a Hillsborough disaster. Yeah, of all the success in the past and present, this disaster for me is what I think of. It's a total of 96 people died, with a further 766 injuries. It's the biggest death toll in sporting history, and it sort of followed down of Liverpool even winning the FA Cup eventually that year, and led to English clubs being banned from football, as well as the Hazel Stadium disaster as well, which also involved Liverpool. And I do feel sorry for any of the fans or families of the fans of the people who got killed and injured in that Hillsborough disaster. Manchester City, the Aguero goal versus QPR to give Manchester City the title in the most dramatic final days in Premier League history. It was Manchester City's first title since 1967-68 and led to a further 4 titles after this one, not including this one, including this season's title. And he's such a loyal and great servant to the club, and I'm a bit sad to see him going, to be fair, at the end of the season. Manchester United, I always think of Alex Ferguson's success and good old Fergie time there. Manchester United has never experienced more success, having won 38 trophies under his tenure, included legendary players such as the class of 92, as well as other players such as Ronaldo, Ryan Giggs, Neville, Rooney and Van Nistelrooy. He alone made Manchester United probably the most wildly supported team in the world. Newcastle United, the Ashley out protests. The protest concerning Newcastle's owners has gone on for years. It's almost since he arrived at the club, he's been hated. For my whole life, I've pretty much seen protests because he just doesn't pump enough money in. And they also don't really like Steve Bruce either, so I think there's a lot of complaints from Newcastle. Always thinking they're like a big club, although they're not really anymore. Sheffield United, it's got to be now being bad in the Premier League. I think they've managed to beat Derby's record of defeats in the season, I read somewhere. Well, that might have been one game away from it, and if they lose today's match, then they probably will have surpassed it. With the Blades having more losses than Derby in a Premier League season. Surely this can take some of Derby's bad record of them back in a 2007-8 season. We don't like to talk about that. But Sheffield United has really disappointed me this season, and I think it will be remembered for years to come, just how bad they were as well. Hopefully they get the tarnish the same brush as Derby do. I saw a comment the other day on Derby County video saying, never come back up to the Premier League, you're an embarrassment. That felt ouch. Southampton, 9-0. You've lost 9-0 twice, in 2 seasons. It has become beyond embarrassing at this point. Furthermore, this is also the highest losing margin in Premier League history. One of which they did recover from one season, but from this time around they haven't, and we're in a relegation dogfight with only really the confirmation of 3 relegated teams preventing it from happening. Tottenham Hotspur, overhyped by both the fans and the media. How can you class this team as a Big Six team when they haven't even won silverware since 2008? And they've only won 2 titles. This is the same amount as Derby County, which have both won their titles after their last title for Tottenham, Preston North End, Sheffield Wednesday, to name a few. And all of them have just been in the lower half of the Championship over the last few years, with Sheffield Wednesday even being relegated this season. So, and there's also, I think, Sunderland have won more titles than you, and they're in League One. So they may have won lots of FA Cups, but that isn't a league position. So why is it top 6? And they're only just likely to get into Europa League this season, if anything. West Bromwich Albion, Sam Allardyce's relegation. The manager is well renowned for not getting relegated, has had such a bad squad that he has now been relegated. Although he did get relegated with Notts County in his first managerial spell, but not really people like to really talk about that. He is very well known for not getting teams relegated, and now he's jumping ship at the end of the season and not really wanting a Championship squad by the looks of it. West Ham United, the hooligans. During the 1970s, 80s, and 90s, West Ham was full of hooligans, which were the rival gang of the Millwall hooligans. They were called the Intercity Firm, and even a documentary called Hooligan focused mainly on the West Ham story. And finally, but not least, we have Wolverhampton Wanderers with a Portuguese team. Right, almost all of their starting lineup is Portuguese. Their third kit is basically the Portugal's national team kit, and their manager at the moment, although I know he's leaving at the end of the season, is Portuguese, and I think the owners might be Portuguese. I've counted 8 Portuguese players in the squad at the moment. So that's it to finish for this video. I hope you all very much enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you're new around here. Would be massively appreciated. And yeah, we've got various things coming up. We've got the history of your club, looking at the history of Middlesbrough Football Club. We've got the end of season review, and seeing how many predictions I got right. So yeah, and let me know as well if you would like to see this from a championship or further down the pyramid, because I know a lot about the other clubs as well. It's just decided to do Premier League because I could only do it on a one-off video really, but it can be make a series if you want to see that in the off season. So thanks again, and goodbye for now.